Oh, it's great. We're bantering away off camera where it has to be. It's the safest place for it.
Off camera, yeah, because if you show that on stream...
Yeah, he is very artistic, though.
Yeah, okay, let's say that.
I said artistic. Right, let's get into it. I'll ask your opinions just about the game you just cast there, just a few thoughts. I mean, not really a lot to analyze, I suppose, but just a few thoughts anyway.
Yeah, I think it was. I think it was just sad that it was mostly a missed opportunity for Bling. Like you could see it on Snoot's attitude after game one. You could see it in the interview where he was like, everything I was doing was getting read and countered pretty perfectly well. I thought Bling played 85% of a very strong, very good PvZ.
Yeah.
And then just, kind of like we talked about on the cast, his fundamentals broke down where he was just like, okay, he got positioned at the base of that ramp, but I'm so far ahead, surely it's fine. And he aggressively blinked forward into a concave of Hydra Ling, which is absolutely not fine. And there was no turning back from there. So Snoot went for the all-in the sense of if you looked at the mini-map, he was just rallying forces to that point. He wasn't making drones. He wasn't really rebuilding tech. There was no plan B. It was, I need to win right now, and he did. And I feel like it's just such a shame because everything up until that point, Bling did exceptionally well. And for him to be playing so good and then to make the one critical mistake where he then loses the game is hard to watch. It was tough.
Well, we're getting to the business end of the tournament now. So what I'll do is I'll bring the bracket up. We can all have a look at that, including you guys at home. So here we are. You've seen some of this. You can see that we had Departure versus Bunny was first up in that upper bracket from Group A. Bunny was triumphant, although only just. Was a bit of a heart and a mouth. And it's the Marine Lord versus First. First came first. He's going to be going up against Bunny.
Did you say heart in the mouth?
Which
is that a saying?
Yeah, heart in the mouth. Yeah, like when your heart jumps up,
Oh,
you never heard that? Do Americans have that one?
Have you heard that, Stefano?
No.
You can't ask him. French have crazy
sayings.
That's
really someone can rely
They do have crazy. And then down in the lower bracket, you see Departure versus Marine Lord. Let's see if the French Revolution is real or whether the plucky Korean underdog.
He lost that first round.
Yeah. So we'll get into that, but we'll move on to Group B. And here's the bracket for that as it stands. And again, using this GSL format that we're all familiar with. We just watched Snoot versus Bling, and as Jeff was pointing out, a bit of a missed opportunity for Bling. Not really a polished Snoot, but in the end, the superior class told, and that put Snoot through into the winner's game. Jaedong versus True. It's Snoot's wish come true, because Snoot didn't want to play Jaedong. He wanted to avoid the EG man, and he's going to be going up against True next, which means Bling is going to go up against the Dong in that lower bracket game, and very tough match for him.
It is, but I mean, if we see that Bling from game one, minus the mistakes, I think Jaedong's in a lot of trouble. Like, that is the really tough PvZ style to play against, where at any moment they could be all-in aggression, just here comes a million stalkers and sentries, or they're just defending everything. So, I mean, what did you think?
Well, that makes the difference between a really good player, just a player, a normal player, someone who cannot make a mistake during a long game. Bling did that for like 15 minutes, and then the last 2 minutes he did a mistake and he lost straight away. That's like, yeah, but hard to see, because he worked so hard on getting this position, and then he just loses. I'm not sure, like, I feel it's a shame we see Jaedong against Bling just straight away in loser bracket. I was hoping for something else.
It's a brutal tournament with only 8 players. It's
exactly.
It gets right into the nitty-gritty pretty quick. Yeah. True Jaedong would have been a fun ZVZ series to see as well, but I mean, like those are two of the better, at least in this tournament, ZVZ players for sure. So it's interesting. Yeah, like Snoot's like, hey, I don't get to play Jaedong, that's good. But you get to play True, and that's tough too. But I mean, it's not like he's overlooking him. He knows.
Well, I mean, there's no bad players here, really, isn't there? They're all good in their own way. And obviously there's the EG. Yeah, exactly. See, just to be a bit of balance there. You like that? Do you like that, guys?
No, I'm just kidding.
I'm worried about the EG bias. I've just realised, actually, of course, you're former EG.
Formerly, but I don't think I forgot.
Well, Huck is current EG. I mean,
I know.
The EG caster team is. We are everywhere now.
Yeah, I know.
We are casting your tournament.
It's kind of like Scientology or something. It's kind of...
Whoa!
No, I mean, in a cool way. That you've got all the celebrities.
Would Huck be Tom Cruise then? Is that what you're saying?
Gosh, now we're going to get into some parallels. I'm not sure I feel comfortable making. We'll definitely.
Was Alec Baldwin a Scientologist?
I don't know. Who would you be?
Alec Baldwin? That's what I'm saying. I would be Alec Baldwin.
You'd be Alec Baldwin, would you?
Yeah, I don't know if he was.
Well, we can look that up in the break. I think that's really important to the rest of the broadcast. But yeah, we need to break that up. You were about to say, I don't think I was really ever EG. Was that what you were going to say?
No.
That's what you want me to say, maybe.
No, I'm just curious.
I actually hold it in my heart if I had one, but I...
He was treated very well.
No. We had good times with
Yeah.
EG, really good times. We had worse times, really bad times as well. But it's a good balance. I liked it.
Mostly good, though, is I
No,
think
no,
was
like
Stefano's
globally,
to
I'd say
say.
it's a positive experience, yeah.
Good.
See, I didn't know what to make of it because I never got to the bottom of that. You remember when Apollo made that joke about how you punched him into retirement?
Yes.
And everybody took it super serious.
Well, more than anyone ever should have, yes.
What
Yeah.
was the joke? I don't think I...
Apollo just said on something like it was Jeff punched you into retirement. I
Yeah,
think he
it
meant
was like literally during a dream hack. He said, he's like, well, we all know the reason Stefano retired is because Jeff punched him, and that's why he had to retire.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he said it in a serious tone, which Apollo never does on air. He saves that brand of terrible sarcasm for off air. And some people actually believed it, which is amazing. I mean,
How much you got hated for that?
not that much.
Oh,
but
okay,
there's-
okay.
there-
Yeah.
There was a lot,
that
I
was
was going to say
actually-
there was a
that's
lot
a
of
good
people
point.
saying good job, actually.
That's the funny part. No. To be honest, it was funny because people did believe it, but none of them were up in arms about it.
Yeah.
They're like, that's a crying shame. Oh,
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, oh, well.
I guess I don't have much friends.
So look, we're going to get into this Bunny versus first game. So let's all get back. I'm sure there's plenty of time to talk about EG and Scientology and everything else over the course of the
We'll get
broadcast.
there.
Let's hope for some delays, actually. That'd be nice. We can fill with that. But we've had the map vetoes come in for Bunny versus first. Guys, again, give me your expertise here because we're not going to see Coda first up. It's actually going to be right at the bottom of the decider. So what's the logic here for this veto?
Like, I will let you speak first because I'm not a professional of PVT, sadly.
I would love it if you would speak first.
Really? I would say Iron Fortress would favor the Terran because of the ability to drop the third base, which is really far away, the main base, which is quite big, so a lot of place to drop in it. It's bad for the early Terran because he can't really play with Widow Mines because you don't have airspace around the main base, right?
This is the professional caster Stefano.
Yeah,
That's-
it just
that's
goes
exactly-
out of me. You know, I
That
can't
was it.
control it. It's just
The only thing I would add there is that taking a third is quite difficult because on both
As a
these
Protoss,
maps,
you know.
as a Protoss,
Yeah.
you start to expand towards the middle of the map, and for all the reasons Stefano just said, once you get away from your main, they can drop your main and poke at your third really easily. So it's one of the maps that Protoss try to avoid, but they've also started to go a lot more two-base all-in-y because of that kind of thing, and this is not a... actually, it's quite bad for Blink Stalkers. I was about to say it's not terrible, but it's okay.
no, you just have like this choke point where you can blink in, but I
Into
don't
the
think
main,
it's
like
you have way better maps for blink.
Terrans are a lot better about handling it though. They already have like a couple of Widow Mines. Like it's a year ago at this time, Blink Stalker all-ins looked invincible. Like Terrans just were like, "What are you supposed to do? I don't understand." And now they know quite well what to do. But this is a great winter match for both these players. I like Jarosar's breakdown talking about First as a guy that kind of fell off. Not the legendary First that we knew of as a terrorizer of WCS EU and on LGIM. He needs to make a name for himself. It's a great place to do it. And Bunny, TVP is one of his stronger matchups. So if he can beat two guys, man, and make it out of that group, all of a sudden the only guy to pick him to win looks pretty smart.
Yeah, and who would have thought that would ever get said?
Huh?
Especially
That would
by
be
you.
amazing. That Richard Lewis picks the winner from the very beginning.
I've got basically my career's riding on this right now. Like, I really need this. Like I'm getting shunned by every game. The opportunities are shrinking.
Starcraft, I'm back. I need this.
Let's just get some quick predictions then. Who's gonna win, guys?
Go for it first.
Well,
I think Bunny.
Like I want to judge like how much
2-1.
it'd be
knowledge
weird if
you
he,
have
it'd
actually
be
about
weird
this
if at
game.
this point in time he
2-1, I
didn't
think.
pick Bunny. He was like, you know what? No,
So you
I'm
check
out of it.
Wikipedia, you checked who's first and who's second between
Yes.
them two, and you picked Bunny,
Yes.
basically. Okay. I like the way you do it. I like
What do you want me to do? You're the expert.
Well, you think about it.
You even said when we were doing the thing, you went, didn't know what I was talking about, so I just stopped talking.
Oh, yeah,
Richard.
well, okay, yeah, that's
So, yep. So come on, quick predictions.
prediction. I would say, yeah, Bunny. I think.
I
Honestly,
agree. I think. I mean, the Departure was a kind of a wild card for me as well. I don't watch as much Pro League as I used to, so a lot of people are like, "Oh, Departure's doing great, actually." And in this case, I haven't seen First play in a long time either. I did see Bunny get shut down pretty darn hard in the TVP matchup recently in WCS, which of course doesn't necessarily mean anything. I'm gonna be the Richard Lewis in this case. I'm gonna pick First. First is gonna win this one.
All right, okay. Well, let's see if you are indeed as smart as that Richard Lewis chap I've heard so much about. What we're going to do now is we're going to throw over to our casters who've been waiting patiently. It is Hook and Penguin that are going to be casting this game. Take it away, boys.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the caster's desk. With me is Huck. For the first time today. Just woke up. Stumbled over from the hotel. Hungover from yesterday. No.
Wow.
He's been around all
just
day.
going ham on me.
Well, we're going to be getting into a TVP, so Well, you're the expert for this matchup. What are you expecting? Talk to me, man.
It's hard to know from Bunny's perspective. First just isn't somebody we get a lot of games from. So in general, it's going to be really hard for Bunny to kind of pick what strategy he's going, where First has a lot of options. I mean, we've seen Little Bo completely shut down Bunny at WCS, for example. So it's just really dependent on how aggressive First comes out and what strategies he picks. If he plays a normal macro game, I think it's going to definitely be in Bunny's favor. But if he comes out with something special, I think First can definitely take this matchup.
I'm really interested to see how First is doing, because he played against Marine Lord earlier, but we didn't get to see that match because he was on the Challenger stage. And First is a guy who historically is known for his PBT. He's known as like a really good PBT player, but he just hasn't done much this year. He never qualified for Star League. He's played 3 times in GSL, but he's never advanced. Lost recently in Code to a Terran Bomber, who's not the best player, not the player he was. He hasn't played a single match in Pro League either, so really limited in information on First, and that might actually help him going up against Bunny. And he did 2-0 Marine Lord before, so he's definitely playing pretty well.
Yeah, exactly. I'm really curious as whether Marine Lord actually went to Bunny and said, you know what, this is what he did. You know, these are the strategies you got to look out for on these maps, etc., etc. I don't know how much those two talk, but I imagine that foreigners will help each other where they can.
Yeah, well, we're going to jump on into the game then. And in the bottom left spawn location, playing for Team Liquid in the blue, we have our Terran player. It is Bunny. Looking almost bored. Yeah, it's going to be easy.
Yep. And in the top right, we are going to have the KT player. Used to be on IM. Now, looking for that resurgence, it is going to be First.
Oh yeah. Looking handsome, looking good.
Yeah,
I like that KT the KT shirt. It's good.
I don't know. I liked my favorite was probably the black and white. What they used to have, kind of like, you know, badass. This is more like Captain America, too cartoony for my my own opinion.
Fair enough. What Pro League team do you think has the best jerseys, best uniform?
Right now?
Mm-hmm.
I really don't know.
I like the Spenu polo shirt. It's good. Simple.
I don't know. I like the old ones, to be honest, where they're a little bit flashier, a little bit cooler, more professional. Now there are like a lot of T-shirts like this, and I definitely would prefer the old ones.
You like the EG jacket with all the sponsor stickers?
Yeah, I like the.
It's colorful.
Yeah, I like the EG jacket actually. I like it a lot.
Yep. All right. Well, just to start things off, we do have Bunny opting for what looks to be a CC First here. First scouting with a probe. So this is going to be. He has the potential to annoy Bunny a little bit here, right?
Yeah, I mean, by the time that probe gets there, it's not going to be that big of a deal. It's nice that he's scouting this early, because if he didn't, he would basically never see that it's CC First before he could actually change his build. So now, by the time he gets there, he can actually make some like small adjustments to his own build. Perhaps maybe just stop mining gas, get a Nexus out a little bit earlier. But as of right now, nothing much is going to change for him. He's definitely playing more safe. This probe kind of going in a weird direction. Maybe throwing down a proxy pylon and doing some kind of Stargate play, possibly. But he doesn't have a second gas, so the timing is going to be a little off.
This is actually kind of cute that he's opting for, if he goes for the Stargate in that position, he's not 100% sure where his opponent is just yet, but he can kind of assume that there's a decent chance that it's cross, 50% chance that it's cross. If it's not, Oracles are still pretty fast. They're still going to get to the opponent's base relatively quickly, and he's going to be going for his own expansion just now. Pretty standard expansion timing here at 3 minutes 40. And so far, this appears to be a relatively normal opening. Nothing too particularly crazy. Even if he goes for that Stargate, it's not super crazy. It's actually something we see on this map quite a lot in Korea.
I wouldn't be surprised either if he did throw down the Twilight Council, just because if he was really committing to the Stargate, knowing that he scouted the top left, it would be more likely that he would send the probe to the like 6 o'clock position in between the bottom left and the bottom right base. That way, if you throw up a Stargate, you know it's going to be pretty close to either base. By throwing a Stargate up on that left-hand side, you're running, you know, a 50-50 chance of it not being there. So I wouldn't mind a Twilight Council here either, just because, you know, it's pretty good hidden tech, and the timing's going to line up really well for the Twilight. And it does look like it will be the Twilight.
All right, yeah. Good stuff. Interesting position to put the Twilight. A lot of people opt to put the Twilight in the corners of the map. It's a lot easier to kill that off if Bunny finds out where it is. But on the other hand, it's a lot less likely that it's scouted. So do you feel like this is a DT play or a blink play? I think it looks like a DT for sure.
Even just where the probe is placed, you can see that it's like that DT shrine lines up almost perfectly right where it wants to be. So I'm almost for sure going to say that's a DT shrine. And that's like a weird thing about StarCraft 2 with small tells. Even if it got scouted right now with an SCV, and I saw that as a Terran player, I immediately say, just from where the probe is positioned, that it was probably going to be a DT shrine.
And there it is.
And of course, that is what it's going to be. Now, the interesting factor is going to be whether he does throw down a robo or not, because you can go a version of this build where you just get the DTs and you hope there's no turret in front, and then there's another version where you get a robo, you get a warp prism, and then even if they have a turret at the front, maybe they won't have one in the main base. But either way, it does look like Bunny's going to be semi-prepared for this at least. He is getting one turret up already.
All right, so of course it's still possible to be really annoying with DTs, especially if he only invests in like 1 or 2. He can run them around, annoy the add-ons, try to pick those off, and just see if he can pick off maybe a couple Marines while they're spawning. He's still a decent chance that First is going to get something done with these DTs. But Bunny, just playing a little bit safe. He's not going to straight out die or something.
Yeah, I feel like these DTs are going to do really well, though. As you said, just getting it into the natural, that's going to be 1 or 2 scans. You always have that threat. Even getting that supply depot at the ramp, getting the bunker in the front, there's a lot of pressure you can do. Having them pick off add-ons on the barracks and just constantly being a threat, going into the mid-game, warping in a DT, you know, forcing out scans, getting a lot of vision, a lot of third base potential to cancel, or even getting that middle tower. I love DT builds if they pay off. The problem is, if they get completely shut down, you're almost for sure going to lose the game. But so far, so good. It looks like he's going to immediately warp in the DT. Of course, he does have 50 energy on an orbital. He hasn't dropped a mule, so the timing Bunny might be aware of. It looks like he's going to immediately recognize that there is a DT, and the DT is going to pick off 2 free units and already doing a good amount of damage.
Oh, man.
And I think he's going to go for the main base.
He can go for the stim, too. And the DT is going to run. Is it going to get out? Oh, so close. But, I mean, this is really annoying.
I called BS on that almost. That DT
yeah, it looked like it was outside the... Man,
can we get a
hacks.
Yeah? Can we get a replay on that? Can we get a referee in here?
Yeah, man. Oh, this is actually pretty good for that Dark Templar. No concussive shells means this one will escape. And yeah, Marauders don't do that much damage to non-armored units. And another DT is going to run on in. That was ballsy. That scan was still going down, but doesn't care. And 2 DTs still in the main. He can definitely go for at least one of those tech labs. I think the stim one should be protected.
Yeah, he's going to immediately go for the reactor.
Oh, that's so smart.
Yeah, and it's already 2 scans down, a supply depot, a few units. I mean, the DTs have definitely been worth it. And at the same time, he's getting a lot of scouting information. He's putting Bunny on the back foot and already throwing down the 3rd Nexus, getting the Robo facility. He's in great shape in this game, and it isn't even the best case. It's, you know, what you would hope for, but not necessarily what you need. He's going to lose one of the DTs here, but he's going to just continue to thin out the numbers of all the bio units, 4 scans. He's got the Warp Prism now, so he can still get the DTs in the base, and Bunny just doesn't have enough turrets. He's constantly burning scans to kill these DTs, which 1 DT for 1 scan, I wouldn't want to trade it as a Protoss player, but at the same time, it's not horrible either.
Yeah, I mean, at the same time, though, like, first, he's getting out of a lot of the scans. He's really keeping those DTs alive for as long as physically possible. That combat shield is not going to vanish. Oh, he almost blocked that. That would have been so cute, blocking the Starport, but not quite going to. I mean, he can still go for the add-on, try to get as much damage done as he can. And this 1 DT picks off the SCV building that turret. That's incredibly annoying. Man, that DT, he's a survivor. And
it looks like he's going to get this reactor as well. Yeah, Bunny kind of falling apart here. Just some small DT for us, to be honest. Like, not game-ending damage. He's almost going to get another reactor, forces the cancel, picks off units, forces another scan. All these small things are adding up, and you got to remember, he still has 2 photon overchargers at home. He still has Blink on the way. He's got Colossus, 3 probes building every few seconds. He's in great position. The only threat is like some big committed push from the Terran side where you kind of get medevacs out. There aren't enough gateway units to hold. But with the Colossus out there, with the photon overcharge, the Warp Prism continuing to be a threat, I feel like he's in great position.
Yeah, I mean, at this point as well, there's no 3rd CC. It's just started for Bunny around 11 minutes, and this is so late considering how early that 3rd Nexus came on up, and the fact that First's already on full saturation over there, that Bunny needs to get something done. But there's already 4 gateways. There's 4 more gateways completing. He's going to have so many units to defend this First, and he's already got 1 Colossus. Thermalance almost done. Blink finishing up just now as well, and there's just so much to defend this. Bunny is really in a lot of hurt right now.
Yeah, and it's great play by First. I mean, even now, if you look down at the bottom production tab, he stopped building probes. He knows, as long as I hold this, I'm going to win this game. Like, all he has to do is focus on that. He keeps scouting the 3rd base. He has the pylon at one of them.
What was that stim?
The other one, yeah, just Bunny kind of slipping up here. It looks like First is playing insanely well, and those small, tricky things that we talked about definitely coming into play here. He's getting a big build order advantage, and he's just doing everything right at the moment, not slipping up at all. He knows he has this game in the bag as long as he doesn't make any big mistakes. And it's on Bunny to kind of force the issue here and do something, but he knows he can't at the same time, you know? He doesn't want to lose the game. He'd rather go into the mid game with a very low percentage of winning than completely lose the game already. And he even knows that a third base is up.
I really like that First decided to delay those forges. He's behind on upgrades now, but that way he's not too greedy. If he'd gone for the double forge earlier, tried to get those upgrades, tried to get every single lead, there is a chance that he doesn't have enough units to hold off a committed push from Bunny. But delaying that, he gets the Colossi out earlier. He's got 2 of them now. He's got so many gateways. He's really going to be perfectly fine against anything that Bunny goes for, and now he gets the double upgrades. And he's still going to be able to pull at least even, probably ahead with the Chrono Boost, because there's no armory on the way just yet. Bunny is adding on a second starport, and this looks like it could be an SCV pull if he's not adding an armory. But I don't know if that's going to work. He's already so far behind.
Yeah, and if First does prioritize his Chrono Boost on those upgrades, it could line up really well for him. Charge, +1 armor, +1 attacks, it all could come in at the exact time that Bunny does the pull. Even these Zealots doing a good amount of damage. He can prick off these turrets, warp in more DTs. There's just a lot of options. And DTs give you that flexibility. Back at home, he has a good amount of units, but look how much damage. Even just forcing Bunny back into his base, knowing that he's buying more and more time for that double forge upgrades. It looks like he's going to lose the Warp Prism. And now this is where Bunny might think, all right, the counter threat is completely null. Maybe I can do an attack now.
The funny thing is that the DT Shrine is positioned such that he could still use it as a forward warping point on the third base.
That is true.
That's so brutal.
Yes, Bunny just hasn't really checked, hasn't looked, hasn't seen too much of the map. Because to be honest, he's been stuck in his base defending for, you know, the majority of the game. And First has had great vision on the map. Even those 2 observers, he hasn't risked a DT into the middle watchtower, but Bunny needs to do something soon because there's double forge. If they do get to 2-2, he's going to be in a lot of trouble because he stopped upgrading, and I definitely think that it's going to be some big middle push soon.
And it's got to go now. The Templar Archives is going to finish up. There's going to be chrono-boosted Storm research, and then if Storm is done, there's no chance of an SCV pull working.
Yeah, I doubt he's going to go for Storm. I feel like he's just going to warp in Archons at this point, especially because he sees how aggressive Bunny's being, and he knows if he gets 2-2, those upgraded units are going to be so much stronger, especially if you get like strong Archon units out. If he does get to Storm, you're right. He's just going to win the game flat out. But it's a risky move. You never want to be caught with your pants down, you know, getting like halfway to Storm, and then all of a sudden the push comes and you die. Right now, he's actually going to wait on those Zealots. He knows that Bunny pulled back a little bit, so he wants to force them into the middle of the map. And as soon as he sees that Bunny's committing a little bit deeper, then he'll run in those Zealots.
Yep, there we go. And there's nothing there. There's a missile turret. That's not going to help against Zealots. And these Zealots are going to go ham on this SCV line. So many SCVs are being taken down. There's no reaction from Bunny. Bunny is just not doing anything with them. He's leaving them to die, sending a couple units back to try to pick those off. But 13 SCVs have gone down here. And First can be more than happy with that. Even if he doesn't kill any more units here, he's already gotten a great amount of damage done. And he's pulling further and further ahead. And at this point, Bunny's maxed out, sure, but he's going to be down in upgrades and 2-2 finishes, and there's already a really sizable bank for First.
Yeah, and it looks like he's actually going to pull the SCVs, but it's going to line up pretty poorly. I mean, First can buy a little bit of time with the Mothership, with these Blink Stalkers, with Time Warp, everything, and all he has to do is delay this just a little bit. If he gets 2-2 out, he's going to be in great position.
Look how many units are going back to the natural. Bunny's not going to want to push in without all those units there. And if he does, it's going to be a lot weaker of a push. Even if 2-2's not done, there's so many units that haven't joined up with the army just yet. And if he waits for them, 2-2 will be done. 13 seconds left on the ground weapons level 2. Vikings going to pop on forward. There's a lot of them. They're going to try to pick off as many Colossi as possible, but the Zealots are connecting at the front. These Stalkers trying to focus down some of the units in the sky, but the Colossi are still alive. They're dying, but they're dying so slowly. They have so much time to do damage to this Bio Ball, and there's just not much left on the ground for Bunny. Down to under 80 supply here. First has so much money to warp in more reinforcements, so many gateways, and that's going to be it. GG is called, and First will take game number 1.
Yeah, great, solid play from First. It just seemed like that whole game he was in complete and absolute control. Bunny just never had any time to breathe, really, to be honest. He was constantly defending the DTs. As soon as he actually could, you know, get on the map, there was nothing to be seen. It's just, you have a third Nexus, I really don't have room to attack, and if I do, I'm going to lose the game, and then slowly but surely, First just closed it out. And so it was a game of small little wins with the DTs, doing a little bit of damage, and then finally, you know, pulling it together. 2 forges, you know, 2-2 upgrades. He didn't even need it, to be honest. It looked like he was going to win that battle no matter what. I mean, if you're going 200 versus 200 and there's a bunch of SCVs, obviously your army should win.
Yeah. I mean, another thing as well with that game is that you may think to yourself, like, oh, he didn't kill any SCVs. Like, did he really do any economic damage? And he did, though. The thing is, so many scans go down for Bunny. Like, he must have used 8-9 scans to try to clear up all those DTs over the course of the game, and those are all potential mules.
Yes.
And mules, of course, I think they're like 270 minerals
Exactly,
each.
270.
So that's absolutely insane how much money Bunny doesn't have.
Yeah, and then on top of that, you're, picking off Marines, picking off Supply Depot, canceling, Tech Lab, canceling that concussive shell, denying the reactor so there's not as many medevacs. Like, even when Bunny pushed out on the map, we saw that he only had actually one medevac with this whole army.
Yeah.
So he had maybe, 20 bio units, but one medevac. And you have to risk, every time you push that T button, you stim a little bit, you're just not going to have the healing power there. And that's why Bunny couldn't commit to a push. And that's why the third Nexus being so early, getting, those Colossus out, it worked out for first because it all fell back to the DTs.
Yeah, I mean, the next map we're going to be getting into is Terraform. So from a Protoss perspective, what do you think about Terraform?
For me, it's an okay map, especially because you have that pylon on that ridge that you can place, and the Reaper can't get into your base. Denying that scouting information makes it a hard map for Terran because they're kind of unsure of what you're going to do. You can do a pretty decent blink all in on this map, and more importantly, you could just play standard, you could take a quicker third Nexus, you could go something like Oracle, DT. The point is the Terran can't scout, and they're going to have a harder time, and that means they're going to have to commit a scan, or they're going to have to run, a little bit of a risk. It's difficult, Going into the mid game, Terran's going to be actually okay. The third base is pretty far from the main base. The main base is pretty wide open. There's a lot of drop potential to be had, and it's difficult. But the early game, I feel Protoss, it feels nice for me.
All right, so first, definitely going to be feeling pretty confident with his position in the series. Of course, if he does lose this game, we go on to Coda, and I don't think there's a single person nowadays who doesn't feel comfortable on Coda. So it's not like First is in a position where he's like, oh yeah, I'm up, but if I lose this, it's a really bad map for me in third map. So he can be pretty happy with his position. Bunny, he's got to be sweating just a little bit. He did lose the first map to Departure as well, managed to pull it back and win nonetheless, but this is going to be a lot harder. First, he looks very solid. I honestly picked First as probably the underperformer of the tournament just because he hasn't done much lately. He doesn't get fielded for Pro League. He hasn't qualified for Star League, but he's looking really strong in this tournament so far.
Yeah, he's always that player that comes out to a tournament like once or twice a year and surprises everybody and does pretty well. I can't remember what the last one was, but he runs deep in some tournaments, but he's more of like, that standard faceless Korean that's, does okay and then's forgotten, doesn't have like a big personality or anything like that, and never really had the consistent results to be, a starlit player. So, I mean, he's done well so far. If he beats Bunny, he's going to be in good position. He's going to be playing, a number 2 seed going into tomorrow. So he has a lot of options here, and it, like you said, he's just not somebody that is known that well, and that's playing into his favor here when he goes something like DTs and Bunny's not expecting it. Exactly.
Well, we're loading on into Terraform now, guys, and we are in the map and in the top left spawn location, playing for Team Liquid as our blue Terran player, feeling like he may be a bit on the ropes. Can he bring it back? It's Bunny. Man, face of a killer this time. He doesn't look bored anymore.
Yeah, he looks aggravated. And in the bottom right, up 1-0. Can he do it? It is KT's first.
Can he advance in first? That pun has not been made 100 times today. Well, we'll be interested to see what First opts for. I very much doubt that Bunny's going to go CC first again. It's a lot safer on a 4-player map. We see people do it on 2-player maps as well, but with that rally point, looks like he's rallying it to be putting down that barracks as soon as that supply depot finishes on up.
Especially when he went CC first, then he got away with it, and then it didn't really work out anyways. So, I mean, it's not something he's super confident in. It's a good issue to talk about as far as Caspa players go, because something that Jeff and Richard Lewis and Stefano kind of highlighted earlier, that this isn't a tournament with a lot of Caspa players in it, but here we are, and we have that Caspa player, and that has to work in First advantage a little bit, mentally coming into this saying, you know what, I'm the guy that should win this tournament just because I'm the one that's in Korea, living there permanently. I haven't traveled to foreign events. I've been practicing nonstop. I've been, trading games with my teammates like Life, like Flash, all these super good players, and I'm coming into this weaker tournament in my eyes. Maybe they don't expect me to do well, but I should do well because I've been working my butt off there, and could work in his favor. Mentally for me, that would be what I would reach for as someone that's played in Korea. Whenever I went to a foreign tournament, if I felt like I'd been working hard, you're on top of the meta, you're playing with the best players, you should be, favored compared to, a foreign player or even like a Korean that's not necessarily living in Korea.
And if you think about the tournament format as well, he goes into this group, he's got Marine Lord, he's got Bunny, he's got 2 Terrans that he can focus on preparing for, and he's got Flash and TY at home to practice with. Like, that's gotta feel pretty good. And Flash currently a guy who's doing exceptionally well in this matchup. So, I mean, if First can trade games with Flash and really practice and against one of the best TVP players that's in Pro League right now, and even TY, he's not doing as well versus Protoss' Flash, for instance, but he's still a very solid player. First definitely has a great training environment. But that being said, Liquid's just set up Boot Camp House. They had a lot of guys over there just practicing for WCS, practicing. Bunny and Snoop just flew in from there, so they've both been practicing for this event as well. So Bunny, he's also had a really good team house environment to prepare for this tournament in.
But it's slightly different, because I feel like in that team house, for example, they don't necessarily practice as well as a Korean team house, where they've kind of have the coaches, they have the support, they've been in it for a long time, they know what you should practice, so it's more efficient practice. Where perhaps, I don't know, but at the Liquid house, maybe they don't do that. They're not gonna, squeak out those super precise builds or something more unique, or they're not gonna, figure out those crisp timings as much. Maybe they're just laddering a lot or playing custom games, but doing it half-heartedly, trading games, but not really knocking out the kinks in a specific build order. Because, for First last game, it wasn't the fact that he just opened up DTs and it worked out and he won a game. It was that he went DTs, got a small advantage, transitioned into the Warp Prism, transitioned into the third Nexus, got the Colossus out just in time, went double Forge. Like, from point A to B to C to D, E, F continued. And he had it completely worked out, where it feels like, Bunny's just kind of playing, your normal macro style, kind of responding to what First is doing, not the other way around, where in general, Terran is, the one that's going to pressure in this matchup and dictate, the pace of the game, the tempo.
Now, we do have Bunny changing it up a little bit more. He's going to be going for a Mine Drop. This is something that is pretty popular in TVP right now, and I think that it's got a really good shot of doing something, because First has not actually opened with a Robo. He's opened with a Twilight Council once again. He's getting additional gateways down. So this could go one of 2 ways. This could either get the mines in. There's actually no detection, so Bunny can get a lot of damage done by that. But, on the other hand, there's going to be a lot of Stalkers out. And actually, something that happened between Bunny and Arium at DreamHack when Arium defeated Bunny is that Bunny went for this build on this map, and it just kind of flew over the Stalkers and died, the medevac. So, that's also a risk with this kind of a build.
Yeah, I feel like at that point, if you're making that big of a mistake, you should lose the game. Yeah. Pretty much. It's like if First went like 3 DTs and then just lost every single one of them and did no damage. He's going to try to stall out. He needs to stall out this Photon Overcharge as much as possible. He wants to make Bunny come in deep if he's using it. He wants to make him lose a few units before, he has to pop that. And he does do that. He does weaken one of the Marines. He kills the Reaper and damages another. He sends the probe out immediately. He should know that there's a mine set up there. If not, that probe should see it immediately. And even Bunny being a little sloppy there, not picking off the probe. Now, you never know. A counter push could immediately come after defending this, and with a forward pylon, with enough Blink Stalkers, there's always potential to do damage. And that's a big threat, especially, just picking off something simple like the probe. It looks like he's sending out a few Marines. He wants to get this probe, and he should, which will help, put his mind at ease if he can get it. First, with a quick response, though, immediately hides it. Yeah, that's some pretty, like, you gotta realize on the other side of the map, he's constantly microing versus these Marines. But great play so far. He's going to try to just save these probes. He loses 2 to the first Widow Mine. It looks like he's going to lose a third one to the second Widow Mine. But all in all, pretty good defense. Taking really hull damage on the Mothership Core. It's not a unit you want to be fighting with. As long as it's alive, as long as it's banking energy, that's pretty good. And he's going to immediately throw up this pylon. It's kind of in a sneaky position as well.
This is going to be interesting. Oh, he sees the probe. Does he realize that there was something sneaky going on? Doesn't look like he's going to try to find the pylon. But, I mean, this is only three gateways of Blinkstalker production, so it's not all in by any means. But we've seen players
do a lot of damage.
We've seen players straight up win series off the back of 3-gate Blink openings. And Rain is another player who made a really deep GSL run. When he won GSL, a lot of his wins versus Terran were off the back of this opening, just straight up killing the opponent because there wasn't enough defense, and there was only 1 Rax up for a long time. But Bunny, he's opted for bunker at the front, or at the top rather. He's got a tank at the front. He looks pretty well set up.
Yeah, but at the same time, you do have to make an investment here. You're building 2 tanks. You're getting that second bunker. You're on the back foot. At a time when Terran should be able to be aggressive, be on the map, threatening the Protoss with drops, with Widow Mines, he can't do that. And all of a sudden, he's going to start losing units. He's already lost 4 or 5 Marines. He lost a bunker. He could lose this siege tank pretty easily here if he targets it down, and that is exactly what he's going to do. And he's got great Blink Stalker micro. Yeah, he's lost, you know, a few Stalkers, but all in all, he's done a lot more damage. We can see 5 pros, 5 Stalkers going down, but at the same time, a lot of bio going down. He's going to immediately blink up. He's fearless. He knows exactly what's happening with this Observer at the ramp. He's picking off more units. He hasn't even lost a Stalker yet, and it looks like he's going to have perfect micro again. 2 Stalkers in red, deep red, getting out barely. Maybe losing one, not even losing one, and he's just going to continue to pressure.
He's going to deny the bunker as well. And this is so brilliant from First. He baits the tank down to the low ground by killing the first one, jumps into the main. There's no tank there anymore, no defense except for the bunker. And at this point, First is just slowly but surely whittling down what Bunny has with just 3 gates of Blink Stalkers. He's going to get the tank. He can actually get Stim if he goes for it, but there's a lot of units here. He doesn't want to commit to that tech lab just yet. Kills off some more bio. There's a lot of Marauders in there. And this aggression will be done when Stim finishes up. But this has already been a fantastic trade for First, who's getting a 3rd Nexus. And behind this, he's up in supply. He's up in workers. He jumps in again. Oh, if he gets Stim, that's disastrous. And he's going to go for it. Wow.
And he gets it in 3 volleys. There's enough Stalkers here. It's like the perfect amount that's very flexible. You won't, you know, miscontrol too many of them. Because when you have a larger group, sometimes they're going to misblink. Some of them are going to be left on the ground, and all of a sudden you have to re-hockey. You got to recontrol them. But this is the perfect amount. It gives you enough where you can pick off units. You can pick off attachments. You can constantly do damage and micro with them. But at the same time, it's not an all-in like you said. He's got that Colossus. It's halfway done. He's already got range. He's got that 3rd Nexus on the way. Meanwhile, Bunny just started his 3rd command center, and he has to do it in base. He's on the defense once again, and First, in a matchup that's, you know, normally Terran's on the aggressive here, they're making moves, they're doing damage, they're looking for that flexibility. First is the one doing that. He's dictating the tempo, and he's got, you know, Bunny just constantly following in his direction where he's pointing him. He's going to go for a little counterplay here, but at the same time, you know, First can always be aggressive with a group of Stalkers, or he can just come back and defend. It's up to him.
And the thing is, this looks like a pretty scary push when you see this moving across the map, but when you remember that none of these units have Stim, it really isn't all that dangerous, and he doesn't have the ability to focus down Stalkers, chase them down with Marauders, because there's just no Stim, there's no concussive shells, there's no range for the Colossi yet either, so this could be a little bit iffy, but this is looking like it should be a very solid hold for First, especially if he can buy time for the 2nd Colossus and range. There's no way he's going to be in a bad position here, and he's going to get the overcharge off on the 3rd, so even that small poke of units, which is a nice move by Bunny, not really going to be able to get too much done.
And it's very scary for Bunny, because if he gets totally crushed in this battle, there's no Stim. It isn't an easy escape for him, but it looks like First is going to do the very conservative move. He sees him move back, he just destroys the rock and goes to defend his main base with those Stalkers. This small split for him is going to be really good. He's basically going to use his Zealots, Sentries, and Colossus to defend the 3rd base, use that Mothership core with him, and then leave the Stalkers in the main to thwart any drops. He has enough Colossus now where at any point if Bunny comes up and takes an engagement, he's going to be taking damage, especially because he doesn't have that Stim. And if he ever overextends, he could actually lose a lot of units. It's up to First to kind of crush this push. He needs to keep eyes on the Terran army. Bunny doing a great job, snipes that Observer, and now he's going to go for a drop.
It looks like there's vision down there, though. And yeah, another Observer is going to spot all 3 medevacs. And there are Stalkers already pretty much in position. He gets the scan off there. He knows there's no Stalkers. Does he realize that they're here? He's used the boost. He gets the scan off. Oh, man, this is a disaster. Already loses all 3 medevacs. He unloads a decent amount of these units, and the Stalkers are hurt, so he'll lose a couple of them. But overall, fantastic defense from First. But there's nothing at the natural.
Yeah, great play by Bunny to realize this. He sees the units at the 3rd base. He loses that drop. Very negative, and he's going to lose most of his army here. He's going to be in a scary position after this is done. Like, great play, he picks off that Nexus, but at the same time, now all of a sudden, look at the supply.
Oh my God.
First is up 45 supply. Bunny building units just now, kind of evening out a little bit more, but this is when Terran should be at 130, 140, and Protoss should be at 110, 115. First doing a great job. Once again, when that drop came in, he had the perfect amount of Stalkers. Literally the perfect amount, where 1 volley from all the Stalkers killed a medevac. 1 more, it would have been too much. 1 less, it would have been not enough. Great job by First, and all that crisp play, all that great calculation is going to come into play here. And Bunny's not even going to take the engagement. He immediately sees that he doesn't have enough, and GG out. Great job by First.
Fantastic series out of him. That's 4-0 in this matchup as he moves on in first place. Great play out of him. And Marine Lord and Bunny both falling down, which means that, well, Richard Lewis is going to be sweating a little bit. He called Bunny as the tournament winner, but Bunny's going to have to play off against the winner of Departure versus Marine Lord, which is a really hard match.
Yeah, Departure being one of those picks that we all thought was maybe the dark horse in the tournament. But first, like after that win, he's doesn't even care. Very emotionless. He's like, this is the Kespa training. I have no soul. I'm just here to win.
Yeah, he expects it by the looks of it. And going on to this, really, really fantastic from him. And we're going to kick it on back to the analysis desk in just a couple of seconds. But, yeah. My bad, but there we go. We have Stefano. He's like trying to get ready there. And well, there we go. We're going to kick it back to the analysis desk. Okay. So, yeah. Overall, we'll be the analysis desk for now until they're ready.
It's going to be interesting who makes it out between Departure and Marine Lord, especially because really Departure is, you know, that dark horse, and Marine Lord himself is someone that's had incredible TVZ. That's something we highlighted earlier in the day where he absolutely destroyed Jaedong, absolutely destroyed Hyun. But we'll see that soon. Yes. We are going to throw it over to the analysis desk. It's back to you, Richard.
How many times are you going to throw it over to us there? What's happening? Throwing us under the bus. That's the only thing you're throwing. Anyway, we are here now. We're all settled. We have got our headsets on. It was just kind of all over a bit too fast for us. It kind of threw me for a loop. It was a flawless performance in a lot of ways from first.
I didn't see that coming.
No.
Nobody saw that coming, Stefano.
I thought Bunny was like way better than that. I felt he was completely outplayed, like both games. First game was just DTs. Being so annoying, so long, so many scans, and it felt so simple for him. Like he wasn't struggling or anything. He got that third base easily at home, no struggle, nothing. And second game, just with being Stalker, he blocked a Terran for like 4 minutes, 5 minutes in his base, cancels him, and I don't know, it felt like such simple action, which just won the game basically.
They were decisive in their subtlety, I would say. Like the Dark Templar opening, that goes back to Brood War, man. That's been making Terran players get very upset for a long time. We'll break it down a little bit more, but I think we want to hear from this
guy. We're going to throw over to an interview. You can be smug and gloat in a little bit, right?
Oh, yeah.
Save it.
There's plenty of that.
Yeah, I thought there would be. Anyway, we have got James Banks with the winner of that game. Take it away.
Thank you, Richard. I am joined by First, who did take down Bunny there very convincingly. So I guess the first question I got asked was it that easy?
엄청 여유롭게 플레이를 하고 쉽게 이긴 것 같은데
생각 외로 상대분들이 다 엄청 무난하게 해주고 상대하기 편한 스타일로 해줘갖고 뭐 큰 걱정 없이 편하게 했던 것 같아.
It felt like that my opponents always played very basic build orders and didn't do anything special, so it was quite easy to handle those build orders.
Now, obviously, he's got players like Flash and Ty to play against in the team house. Did he prepare a lot knowing that he was going against two other Terrans in this group?
이제 같은 팀원 중에 뭐 유명한 테란 선수들이 많잖아요. 이제 뭐 플래시 선수도 있고 TY도 있고 그러면 그게 좀 많이 도움이 됐나요? 이번 테란 상대로서?
네, 그런 것도 있고 확실히 잘하는 선수 중에 테란 선수 중에 계속 연습하다 보니까 좀 약간 내성이 생기고 확실히 실력이 많이 늘은 것 같아.
Yeah, it definitely helps to have one of the best Terrans in my team, and because I always have to practice against them, I kind of feel like I got the resistance against Terran players now, so it really helps.
And they're definitely people that he wants to be practicing against to get ready to take on these Terrans as well. Now, obviously, before we've seen First, he's been in Europe practicing out there. Now he's back in a Kesper house. What's been the difference for him, and how much has he been able to improve since going back to a Kesper team house?
예전에 이제 유럽에서 WCS를 하셨는데 이제 캐스파 팀에 와가지고 꽤 오랫동안 생활을 이제 했잖아요. 차이점이 큰지 그리고 캐스파 팀에 오고 나서 훨씬 더 실력이 나아졌는지.
확실히 유럽에 있을 때는 좀 엄청 느슨하게 해갖고 좀 제대로 된 연습도 못하고 그다음에 좀 많이 놀아서 성적이 안 나왔던 것 같고 확실히 캐스파 팀에서는 좀 체계적인 그런 시스템도 있고 아무래도 좀 이제 나이가 먹어서 이제 좀 책임감을 가져야 된다 생각해서 좀 더 많이 열심히 했던 것 같아.
I was definitely a bit more lazy in Europe when it came to practicing, so I didn't really had a fixed schedule to practice in Europe. But now in Casper, it's all different, and I really have to practice a lot. And I think it also kind of got more mature, so I really try to focus on really practicing hard and not doing anything else while those practicing times. So I think it really helped me to improve.
Well, it's certainly paying off right now. We're going to throw it back to the analyst desk with Richard and the guys to discuss the game a little bit more further.
Wow, that was
some insight.
Incredible.
No, but what I liked about it was the bit when James forgot how translation works and was asking to translate the question, and then and it's like just a little pro tip there, brother. You know, I've given you advice all your career. Translator, yeah, Mike, got it. But anyway, that's a horrible thing to do. I love you, James. Anyway, you know, you heard what he was saying there, but let's sort of get back to the game. You know, far be it from me to imply Korean answers are generic in nature. Let's talk about what happened there, because it was an absolute, you know, it was a masterclass on sort of how to play that Protoss versus Terran matchup. So.
Yeah, Protoss, they always have, like, we have our pretty standard little bag of tricks. Like, no one's coming away from this game like, wow, Proxy Dark Shrine, oh my god. And the way he blunk in there that second game, it just sent me through the moon. Like, no one's saying that. It was very standard. And at the same time, for the Terran, that's the danger zone, though. Like, there's so many things that show up. The reason the missile turret was there in game one was not for Dark Templar, it was for Oracle, which is so common. That keeps popping in there. And you could see Bunny scouting around at the Marine. He knew something was up. And that's like if you sit a Terran down and you hand them a mug of adult beverage, and you're like, you know, tell me about your problems. They're like, wow, Protoss players keep showing up with things. They just do. And it's always going to be that way. That's like the game design.
Yeah, but don't you feel like Bunny had actually an opportunity to see what was happening? Because he saw the two Stalker going out of the natural of True, right? Mm-hmm. Didn't first, sorry. And he saw the probe scouting for the wall, right? And just going back. So he must be like wondering, why is it scouting the wall? Like, why? There must be a reason, right? When you go Oracle, you don't care about the wall, you go straight for the middle line. So it can't be Oracle. I mean, maybe it's a bit too fast to react like that.
The
but
probe
like,
just
he
showing
must have
up
had a few hints about a frontal attack, like someone going through the wall straight away. And he didn't react to that, and he put the turret straight for the middle lines. And yeah.
The trouble for Terran, though, is that, like, let's say he overreacts and is like, why did that probe show outside my base? Clearly, it's a Blink Stalker all-in or something like that.
Yeah.
It's tough because if they make, at that point in time, if they, like, double bunker and it's Dark Templar, well, that's it. That you spent literally 100 minerals too much, and now you're in a lot of trouble. I do agree with what Huck said during the broadcast, that Bunny did fall a little bit apart. Like, that composure is something that Bunny has shown in the past and needs to show now in a time like this. Like, the DT's getting in. They didn't kill 25 SCVs. The game wasn't critically over at that time, but continuously building things outside missile turret range, skimping on the missile turret, not building like a second one in range of all of the production buildings, like that kind of started to snowball. And you know, if you ask a Terran again, they're like, well, if I do that and then they don't make any more DTs, then I'm down. You know, so it's like it's not like Bunny made these huge novice mistakes. It's that he got caught off guard twice and then didn't react pretty perfectly, which is what he needed to do against a player as refined as First, who has in the past been a PvT sniper as well, and is starting to show some of that form here too. So it's not like we sit up here and just go like, Bunny is terrible and what an idiot, he made horrible mistakes. It's more like you played against a very refined Protoss, and this is how Protoss wins most of the time.
Yeah, so let's talk about First, and has this made you, you know, maybe reevaluate? Because you were said in the previous part of the broadcast that you weren't entirely sure what kind of, you know, First we were going to get, what sort of shape he would be in. Both me and Stefano, who are obviously, you know, legends in Starcraft and know all about it. Riding on your coattails.
Fair point.
Yeah, thank you. We both went for Bunny. So why is it though? You know, why didn't we include First right at the start when we were talking about possible contenders, and what do we think of him now?
Well, that's what's fun about this Gfinity is there's a little bit of a redemption story going on. I mean, Bling in the Foreigner scene, and we're seeing that story getting concluded, fairly, maybe. For the Koreans, there's Departure, who has gone off and is competing in the hardest of hard places to play, and this is one of the first times we've seen him come back to the foreigner scene, and it looks like he's, even though he lost to Bunny, he looked better, and now first as well. So it's kind of fun that way. I'm not, you guys not picking him to win is not bad either. It's like nobody went into this and said, first is hands down the player to beat at this tournament. But if he, and again, the kind of funny thing is, like, for similar reasons that we shouldn't write off Departure, we shouldn't, you know, like, go all in on first yet either. He executed 2 timing attacks. They went really well. Cool. Let's see how he does against, you know, further in the tournament.
Okay. Anything to add to that, Stefan?
You say that, but I still feel that Bunny wasn't really playing at his level right now. Like, the kind of mistake he was doing is not out of someone of his level, one of the best Terran in Europe or outside Korea. Like, it's so little things, and he should be, like, mastering that. So I think it's more about nerves more than strategy and stuff. Like, he's not really comfortable in here, I think, or something.
That's why we got you here, man. I'm going to do the caster positivity, the hype, and you're like, no.
No, okay. Great team, no? Isn't it?
Yes,
it's good
the
balance.
Simon Cowell of StarCraft.
Yeah.
What advice would you give him to beat nerves? How did you used to beat nerves?
Beat nerves? I don't think, like, you can give an advice like that. It's something you work on, like,
he played
years after
shoeless.
years, and it's experience.
He played shoeless?
Shoeless, it helps a lot. Having cozy feet when you play hot, but shoeless. So they can breathe, but still warm, you know, like in between.
Feet are a big part of game.
Yeah, and I'd say sometimes, like, the hungover makes you forget about all that stress and stuff, because you're just trying to survive. So it's not about, like, what do they think of me, or am I shaky, am I nervous? No, it's just, I'm going to try to pass this day without collapsing or something.
Stefano.
And then, yeah.
Mate, that's the best advice I've ever heard. Like,
And
it's my entire career in a nutshell, I think. Anyway, thanks for your thoughts, guys. We're going to take a break now, but we'll be back, of course. And to all of you, we're going to take a very short break. It's going to be about 10 minutes again, and then we're going to come back with yet another game in this epic tournament. Please do join us. See you in a bit.
Going in for it, he's trying to take down the spine crawler, he's going for the queen. There are not a lot of units, the drones coming off the mineral line, that's never a good sign. He is 8 ahead right now, he can lose a few, but the spine crawler goes down.
He's the biggest victim, by the way, in this game right now. Oh my god, get out of there, it's all starting. There goes the gob off, he's got no idea where to run.
Chains that you pull away. I feel the fear when you look at me.
You wanna rob my boner?
You